This is the series of Lunch with the Supe, and we're really appreciative to the EBR Foundation that has set this event up. We've had great participation. So today, in sort of summing up the Lunch with the Supes this fall and spring, I'm going to talk about beyond the 100-day plan. We came in with a 100-day plan, and now I want to talk about what are we going to do beyond that plan. So I'm going to go back a little bit and talk about the beginnings of what we've tried to do. And then I'm going to talk about moving forward a little bit with our high schools of excellence, with our effort to bring relationships back into the district and create better customer service, and just make us a more, just a better school system in relating to the community around us.
This is a very exciting time for me. I serve on the board of the foundation, and I'm also the business banking executive for Regions Bank for the south part of the state. It's very exciting for me because this is a great organization, and it's something that at the bank we care greatly about. For those who've been here before, I regularly say the same thing around this. I'm going to repeat it because I think it's important. One of the efforts that I encourage all of our associates to do every time they have a chance, it really started out with trying to help them understand what a good day looked like. I mean, when you leave and go home every day, how do you know if you had some success? And I've told them the same thing, which is try to make a difference. And it's the three components again: make a difference in a fellow associate life, people you work with, make a difference in your community, which is what we're doing today, and for us, make a difference with a client. And if our associates can say, yeah, I did that, one of those things every day, then I tell them it's a great day. And by you showing up here today, you're making an effort to make a difference in our community. And you know, there's nothing more exciting than that. We live in a very challenging time. We've got some budget issues going on with the state, which can make all of us maybe a little anxious, both personally and from a business perspective. But you know, even with all those things happening, what we can do to help impact what really is the next generation of our community is a big deal. I once told a group of teachers I worked with who were coming in for a different group I'm on with the Academic Distinction Fund. They're there for some additional education to help out the really kind of preschool and early education levels. If you look at what we do education every day, we are literally making generational impact. This is not something that happens and goes away and tomorrow there's not, we don't see it. If we can do something with our education system and with the children who are there, you're helping not just them, you have the chance to help their kids. Think about it. You have the ability to change not just one generation, but several generations. And the foundation is a part of that. What we try to do is to help make sure that we do all we can to support the school system financially and give them a chance to enhance education, give them a chance to try different things. We're very involved with STEM, STEAM, both. And we'll hear more about that, I'm sure, as we kind of move throughout today. But with that, I want to do a quick introduction. We have a new executive director for those who have been attending this for a while now. I think we told you the last time we're going through a transition. And I want to take an opportunity to bring her up and let her say a couple things before we get on with Warren. So KEILA STOVALL comes to us, I think, at a great time. You know, for those who knew Janet, still know Janet working, she did a great job getting this organization up and running. And now we're ready to kind of move forward to the next part of our life. And I think KEILA's the perfect person for that. So if I can, KEILA, come up, maybe say a few words about yourself, and we'll progress to Warren. So KEILA.
I just want to say hello and welcome and thank you for coming. And I am really honored and humbled and excited about this new position and this new opportunity in my professional career. I've always been involved professionally with something that has to do with impacting the lives of children, and spent most of it working for Boys and Girls Clubs, both here in Baton Rouge and also in the greater New Orleans area. So I'm thrilled to be part of this effort to support our school system, and I just appreciate those of you that are coming and are interested in what's going on and interested in becoming partners with the system and with the foundation to make really lasting impact on the lives of children. So I want to thank Jeff and Regions Bank for sponsoring the Lunch with the Supe, and look forward to hearing from our superintendent today. And again, thank you all for coming. Thank you to Regions Bank, and thanks, Jeff.
First off, let me thank everyone for coming today. I really appreciate the support for EBR schools. This isn't about Lunch with the Supe necessarily, but it's about supporting the East Baton Rouge Parish school system. KEILA, welcome and thank you for what you've done for so many years, and thank you for coming aboard. We're so glad to have you here, and we're looking forward to working together to make East Baton Rouge Parish schools better. I had an aha moment this morning. Dr. Michelle Clayton's sitting in the audience with us right here. We had an executive directors meeting this morning, and toward the end, we have a book study every week, and we talk about Leadership Matters is the book we're talking about right now. And when we got to the part on focus, Dr. Clayton ended up with a statement, and it basically went like this. You know, what is our focus? And we've also looked earlier at a book, what is our why? So what is our why? Why are we here? You know, a lot of people may think that it's academically focused. Well, it is academically focused, but I want you to know that the academic piece is really a byproduct of what we are going to do and what we should be doing. And what I mean by that is that we, in the school system, this is about people. This is not about programs. We always say that. It's not about programs, it's about people, number one. The second thing is it's not what we do, it's how we do it. And so the greatest leaders that we've ever seen and talked about are those leaders who develop relationships with people and who people will go through walls for. Everybody's had a teacher like that in their lifetime. Everybody's had that teacher that you, number one, do not want to miss a class for. And number two, will do anything to satisfy and to make that teacher happy. And those are the teachers who develop relationships with the people, who love those students. And so what happens is, after that, the academic growth is a byproduct of that relationship. This is a people business we are in. So I don't want people to think that we are here driving academics. You know, I think we test a little bit too much, actually. And so I want you to know that we are here to develop relationships, to have teachers who understand the heart of those students. Because we have challenges. Everybody has challenges. So I want you to know that. So working toward next year, this morning I'm going to talk a little bit about the past and where we've come from back in June and July, and a little bit about the future and where we're going. And so one of the things I want you to know is that for next year, we're going to really identify what is our focus. What do we really want to achieve, and why do we want to do that? So I just wanted to start with that. So let me talk a little bit about beyond the 100-day plan. You know, as I came on board officially July 1 and a little earlier May and June, we talked about what are our priorities and what are our focus areas. So these were basically the priorities that we came in with, establishing a working relationship of trust with the board. Ms. Freiberg's here right now. I think we've done that. I think we have a great board. I think we've worked on that. I think we all understand what our mission is and what we're trying to do to help our students. I'm not going to read every one of them, but just create a culture of excellence in every school, safe and disciplined learning environment, and dedicate maximum resources to student learning. And then, of course, I think we all should celebrate student and employee success, and I'm going to talk about that toward the end of my presentation. So y'all just continue. Don't stop eating, guys. Y'all keep eating. Your food's going to come. We just want you to be comfortable today. Well, beyond the priorities were the areas we decided to focus on, and you can see the 7 areas that we focused on. Number 1, organizational accountability, governance, budgetary alignment, student achievement, safety and discipline, public relations, excuse me, and parental and community involvement. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of those. And look, let me also say that this is an interactive meeting. I'm going to be talking about this, but if anyone has a question, certainly raise your hand. I'll be glad to answer it, or you can wait to the end, either way. So let's talk about the organizational accountability. One of the very first things we did when we came in was to reorganize the central office. We had several positions that went away. We had several positions that came in because we wanted to align ourselves organizationally with the mission of the district. And we also focused on aligning existing talent. We kept a lot of the great talent we had in EBR, and we brought some new talent in, like a couple of the ladies sitting at the table here. Adam Smith, our associate superintendent, is one who was already here. Dr. Clayton came in new, and Donica Duggan came in new. So we kept some of the staff here that was great, and we have great staff, and we brought in some new staff. In trying to align the budget, we know the budget is the key word right now in the state of Louisiana. And when our state depends so much on oil and gas is down by 67 or 70%, then things happen. That's why they're focusing down at the state legislature, and they're going into a general session here pretty soon. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go to a special session after that. We are just in dire straits in the state in particular. So what do we look at when we look at budgetary alignment, and what are the areas that affect East Baton Rouge Parish schools? First off, the MFP. For those of you who don't know what the MFP is, it's a minimum foundation program. It is the per pupil monies that the state gives us, and the official count is on October 1st. So on October 1st, when we do a count, and we had 42,300 students, they multiply that times the MFP allocation from the state. It is generally between $4,500 and $5,000, sometimes a little more, and then we get that per month for the rest of the year. So that is basically how we are, one of the ways we're funded. We also looked at, and so every student counts, and that's one of the things we've been talking to our principals about. When we talk about customer service, and when we talk about being the choice of parents in East Baton Rouge Parish, we believe parents are going to choose the best school for their child. And I believe it's the right thing to do. Those of you who've had children, we want the best opportunity for our kids, no doubt about it. And so our focus is being the best we can be, so we are the selection of parents in East Baton Rouge Parish. And that's why I encourage parents to go visit schools. I visited 3 yesterday at length, went through every classroom in the schools. And there was phenomenal learning going on, just opportunities that, you know, that some people just don't know is going on. So feel free to visit schools and take a look. But the critical reality is we are currently in a deficit spending in EBR. I don't know the exact figure there. It sort of fluctuates. We're coming down to a figure that we are operating in the deficit. And so we're looking at ways to find out how we can get better in that, and how we can be more creative, and how we can make our budget work more for in the classroom. And also there's a financial impact of charter schools. And when I talk about charter schools, like I said before, we are 4 great schools. But currently our budget off the top is about $75 million to charter schools before anything else happens. And a lot of times those schools don't educate the hardest to educate children. Sometimes they do. So when you look at the gifted, when you look at the special education needs and things like that, it's more difficult and it costs more to educate those kids. So all of these are factors that we have to look at when we're planning for next year and budgeting. Student safety and discipline. You know, one of the first things we wanted to do is come in and try to create a culture of excellence in every school. And that goes back to the very first thing I said, that teachers have to develop that relationship. They have to greet every student every day they come in that classroom. They have to hug them. They have to let them know they care. You know, it's difficult sometimes to do that. Those of you who've been teachers understand that. But that's what our job is. Our job is to love and to hug those children. We want our schools to be an oasis for those children when they walk into those schools. And are we there in every school? We can get better in some schools, and we're working to do that. But we want to create a culture of excellence in every school, high expectations for all. I believe that children can rise to the expectation that you have for them. And I believe every child can learn, and I think everybody in this room understands that. But not all people believe that. And there are kids that are more difficult to teach than others, absolutely. But I believe if that teacher develops a relationship, then we're on our way to getting better in that classroom. And then, of course, we're identifying areas of greatest need and working to establish procedures to reduce those discipline incidents. Let's talk about achievement for a moment. Resources in the classroom, streamlining the processes for improved productivity. I want to talk about the maps for a moment. The third bullet says improving teacher quality by creating maps. The MAPS program is, a lot of times if you go on the State Department website or if you go to the internet and look at teaching opportunities, you'll see teachers teaching, but they may be in Colorado or Massachusetts, and best practices. What we've tried to do here is to have our own teachers. So when a teacher in a classroom needs help, for example, they need to know maybe how to teach that lesson, or they need some resources for that particular lesson. They may not be up on that particular lesson. They can go to the internet, which is on our website, and they can look up one of our teachers in our schools teaching that lesson. I think that's so critical that they understand, not only can I watch it on a video, I could go to that teacher's classroom. So it sort of brings us together and realize that we're all in this together, number one, but we have teachers in our own district who are fantastic, who are ready, willing, and able to provide that best practice event in their classroom, and that welcome other teachers into their classroom. So it's not only resources, it's that video part too. So that's critical for us becoming better, because the training of our teachers, I think, is critical. We have to train our teachers on the expectations that we have of them. We have to train our principals. We'll have a principals meeting tomorrow, and we'll talk about those things. We'll talk about customer service. We'll talk about getting better. We'll talk about trainings for the summer and things like that. And of course, expanding technology. The PARC test was originally supposed to be used on computers rather than paper pencil. This year, again, it's going to be paper pencil in the state of Louisiana, but eventually it will become computer based. And it's going to be a much different experience for students when they take a test on a computer rather than paper pencil. We have to prepare them for that. And if you know how technology changes so often, that we have to be up on that. We've got to get more laptops in schools. Right now we're doing a one-to-one laptop program at Lee High School and at Scotlandville Magnet High School. We'll continue to expand that. And we also have the High Schools of Excellence program, and that is something I'm going to talk a little bit more about right now. And this is part of a presentation that I presented to the board last Thursday. Dr. Clayton and I did. So I want to give you the timeline of the High Schools of Excellence program. First off, this past summer and this past fall, we had conversations with the board. We had a retreat or two. We talked to principals about these things. Instructional programming for high school. What do we need in those high schools? And I want you to realize that the state has changed the way we're doing business with diplomas. In the past, and I may have mentioned this before, in the past there were 3 diplomas. There was a college diploma, there was a basic diploma, and then there was a career diploma, but only 1%, you think about this, 1% of our students selected the career diploma. There was a stigma there, and I understand that. So we were graduating kids that only 50-something to 60-something% attended college. 50% of them did not graduate from college. What are we doing with the rest of the students? So the state has changed the way we do diplomas. Now there are 2 diplomas. And this year, right now as we speak, students are selecting pathways. So now we have a college diploma and we have a career diploma. And at the end of the sophomore year, our students will select what pathway they want to go to. Now at the end of that pathway, so they're freshman and sophomore years, they will do everything that every other student does. They'll take all the core subjects, they'll work on everything else. Their junior and senior years, they will continue to take subjects like regular students do, but they'll also go into a pathway. It could be welding, It could be a medical field. It could be any number of things that are called pathways. But here's the difference. At the end of that pathway, they can take a test for certification. When they pass that test, they will be certified to walk out the door and get a job in that industry. And that's the difference. In the past, that career diploma has not given students that opportunity. They've got a career diploma, but what are they going to do after that? They really don't have the certification. And so what happens is those industries have to retrain those students. So, and I'm going to talk in just a moment about Struma and Ardendale, which are going to be two schools that have those career components to it that give those students those pathways. So these are sort of some of the things we've talked about as far as high schools of excellence. Now, continuing with the high schools of excellence, we are going to implement that in schools beginning in the fall. Now, some of our schools have workforce development type programs, but the Jumpstart pathways are going to be implemented in schools beginning in the fall. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So continuing with the timeline, you look, we've formed committees at all high schools. We will do this in the summer, this coming summer. We've had a community meeting on Struma already. Tonight, actually, we will have a community meeting at Woodlawn High School at 6 o'clock tonight to talk about what do they want to see in their school? What do they want to see? How do they want to see their kids moving forward? And I'll talk about that in just a second. And then you can see the Woodlawn piece there, but ABC, which is Associated Building and Contractors, which is right on Airline Highway, Woodlawn High School is the closest school to ABC. Yet we don't use that organization at all. Every high school in Ascension Parish uses ABC. We don't use it at all. Woodlawn is right there. They can teach those workforce development opportunities that we don't have to duplicate at Woodlawn High School right there at ABC. So that's some of the things we're talking about. So next year, in the fall of 2016, we're going to maintain programs at Scotlandville Magnet. As you know, they have a very, very fine engineering program of about 250, 300 students there. Lee Magnet High School and Baton Rouge High School. And I'm also going to mention McKinley High School is way ahead of the other high schools about their programming for next year. And then we're going to implement a pilot program at Woodlawn Senior High School. Many of you may know that Woodlawn has a superior robotics program. Daniel Island is the robotics teacher at Woodlawn High School. And it's actually one of the best, if not the best in the city and one of the best in the state and recognized throughout the South. We went over there about a month ago to talk to Mr. Island about his program and just sit down and discuss it with him. And we realized that he did all of that on his own time after school as a club. Now, I want you to think about that a minute. He teaches social studies. He teaches AP history and geography. And after school, he has a club, a group of students in robotics that is one of the most recognized robotics programs in the South. And so we're going, we need to incorporate this into the curriculum at Woodlawn High School. And we'll be talking about that. So we're going to make a way for Daniel Island to get lots of students during the day, give him a space to do it. They weld their own machines. It's right next to the shop. So it's very creative, and it's an opportunity to grow that program in robotics and make it the best in the nation. That's what we're trying to do. So that just gives you an idea of what we're planning to do at schools like Woodlawn. And then throughout the summer, we're going to continue, and the fall, the EBR High Schools of Excellence program. And then you can sort of see what we're going to be doing. The fall of 17, we'll work to implement the High Schools of Excellence program in the other high schools. And so what is this? This is the piece of land. Let me talk about Ardendale for a moment, and I'll talk about Struma for a moment. Those are going to be the two schools that we implement first. They'll both open August of 17, and they will both open as schools. Let me talk about Struma first. Struma will have three components to it. It will have a middle school magnet program component in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It will also have a traditional regular high school component from the students who are in the Struma zone, attendance zone. And then the third piece, we will have 4 areas of, and we're still working on this, we're just about to finalize it, But one, for example, for in the workforce development area, which will be, let's just take carpentry, for example, electrical, and what was the other one? Masonry. So in other words, if a student can learn to build a house and get a certification in that, he can go out and get a job. And so we'll teach carpentry, electrical, masonry. If you go over to Ardendale, for example, they're going to teach plumbing and HVAC there. And so students can go there, and when they get out, these are certifications. When they get out, they'll be a certified, HVAC or plumbing person who can go get a job with a plumber or a company, industrial or commercial or residential. If you look at this tract right here, and I don't have a pointer, but if you look on the right-hand side and see the area in red, that's actually roads, but the piece on the right is actually where Baton Rouge Community College owns and is building and will open in August of 16. This coming August. They will open the Automotive Technology Center. Matt McKay, who I've known all my life, owner of All-Star Automotive, has gotten together with a group, and this vision is coming true right now. So the Automotive Training Center will expand into, and this is part of BRCC, will expand into body work and also diesel mechanics and also major crane operator type things. So it's going to be workforce development type business. The 7.8 acre tract you see is the tract that the East Baton Rouge Parish School System has we're just about to receive that. It's being surveyed right now. But actually, the piece below it is about 5 acres or a little plus. So a total of 13 acres that we will build a career academy on at Ardendale. This is actually Lobdell Boulevard. But this project is called Ardendale. And so we will build a workforce development school there for juniors and seniors. So a junior at, let's say, Bel Air or Tara or Broadmoor, they will go to school half a day at their home school. The second half of the day, they can go to Ardendale to our career campus and take HVAC or plumbing. And we've got about 10 different things we're offering over there to where they can get certifications. Now, let's say they are athletes at their school. They can go to Ardendale for the morning session and then go back to their home school for the afternoon session, where they can finish their school out and go play, do whatever, organizational things they want to do in the afternoon. So that piece of property, we should take control of that as soon as the survey is finished, which should be in the next few weeks. And we're going to, we actually just put out the board just approved last Thursday the opportunity for them to go out and put a RFQ out for an architect for Ardendale. We actually already have an architect for Estruma, and we're moving forward on that. So these are exciting times in East Baton Rouge Parish, and we're working to make sure we do for our kids what they need to be done. Provide those workforce opportunities where our students can go into jobs when they graduate if they're not attending a 2 or 4 year school. So how will we fund that? A lot of people say, how do you fund that? Well, Ardendale is part of the tax plan. Ardendale, in 2008, the voters in East Baton Rouge Parish approved a tax plan to build schools and to renovate schools. The Ardendale project was a part of that, and so we're just continuing and moving forward with what people approved in 2008. The Estruma piece is a little bit different. It was taken over by the state in 2014, and it was shuttered. The school was shuttered and still is shuttered. And Estruma High School is an iconic school in East Baton Rouge Parish. And there's no high school, and there's really very few schools in 70805. And so we wanted to give those kids an opportunity. We've identified about 600 students who are at other schools currently who would be in the Estruma School District, and also a middle school magnet piece to that, and then also the workforce development piece. So 3 different groups. And then if you look at Estruma, and I'm not sure everybody understands this. I want to make sure everybody is clear on this. Because of the efficiency of the tax plan, every school that East Baton Rouge Parish has built in the tax plan in 2008 has come in under budget. I think that is a testimony to the efficiency of the organization that's building these schools. CSRS works with us. Our board oversees this. A lot of people think we just have $21 million lying around. Not so. This $8 million is coming from additions and renovations, and the $13 million from facility improvements. The $8 million is from savings of all the other projects that have been built in East Baton Rouge Parish since 2008. And I think that's a testimony to them. And the $13 million is from summer projects that we were to do in other schools. And I have no doubt, even though the budget is $21,400,000, I have no doubt this will come in under budget, hopefully, and we can give that monies back to and continue the renovations and summer projects. So that's sort of where we are on Estruman, Ardendale. And if you take a look at Woodlawn, the career and technical education teachers, Carl Perkins money, and also the EBR Foundation has monies that work with our robotics program. And so we expect some of that to go into our awesome robotics program at Woodlawn High School. Let me talk about public relations a minute. Donica Duggins is our communications person. We're rebranding with a new logo. You can see the logo at the bottom right. It incorporates the city of Baton Rouge. We are encouraging partnerships with time, talent, resources. So when we talk about partnerships, you don't have to give money. We'd love for you to give money. We'd love for you to give money to the EBR Foundation. But also it's time and resources, and we appreciate the support from all of the organizations that you represent in here, because we know what y'all have done for EBR schools. We are going to have a comprehensive media buying program because we have some great things going on. Like I said, I visited 3 schools yesterday. There's not a school I visited I wouldn't send my child to, and my children came through East Baton Rouge Parish schools. They rode the bus, and they rode to the transfer every day at Independence Park when they were in the system here. So we want to share the stories of accomplishments, and we want to improve customer service. I think this is a critical component. Early on in our tenure, we put out what was called the Principles of Performance, and these are expectations of what we want our employees to do. How do we dress? How do we interact with each other? How do we interact with our students? There's an expectation of professionalism there. Are we perfect? No, we're not perfect. Are we going to get better? Yes, we will. But I don't think any organization is perfect. I think we all strive to get better every day. You know, in education, sometimes we're not ever going to get to where we're going to go. I know that sounds a little funny, but in education, we're either moving forward, improving, or we're moving backward. There is no such thing as a status quo in education. If you stand still, someone else is moving forward, and I think we all understand that. So we're going to be doing these things this summer. We're going to have customer service training for the people who are the touch point people who are with our customers every day. Clerks, secretaries, bus drivers, and really everybody needs to understand and embrace better customer service. That's the life of any organization, I think, because this is an organization that's about people. It's not about programs, even though programs are important. So we're going to work on customer service this summer. We're going to train our people, and hopefully we're going to get better in that area too. Parent and community involvement, strategic partnerships, just like in this room, diverse program offerings in our district, a voice for parents in our schools, one team, one mission. What does that mean? That means everybody is an important part of our team. You are an important part of our team, because today you will walk out of here and you will say, you know, I learned something new, or I heard something different about EBR schools. And that's why I appreciate the foundation so much, because they've given us the opportunity to talk to you, the community, and to get out into our community and talk about the good things that are happening in EBR schools. I believe there is a new day in EBR schools, and we're getting better every day. This is coming up. I want you to notice the celebrate. EBR is right in the middle of it. We're going to celebrate on April 30th. That's a Saturday, downtown Baton Rouge, right there by where North Boulevard meets 3rd Street, right in that area of the River Center. From 12 to 5, we want y'all to join us. We're going to celebrate the great things going on in EBR schools, April 30th from 12 to 5 p.m. So come down and join us and see some of the great groups that we have in our schools performing. And actually next, I think it's March 18th, I would like all of y'all to know that our teachers and students will be performing at the Shaw Center. This is a fundraiser for the arts program in East Baton Rouge Parish. And there are some phenomenal performances. So next Friday night, I believe it is, at the Shaw Center. Look that up and come down and join us next Friday night for the arts at the Shaw Center. So what are we doing right now? Testing is coming up. So are we preparing? Yes, we would be foolish if we weren't preparing for the test. Absolutely we are. You know, I'm the kind of person who thinks that if you work on the heart of students and employees, if you work on the heart, everything else will work itself out. Achievement will get better. So, so we don't drive on testing and achievement. We try to make the heart better. We try to develop relationships. When those kinds of things happen, then when students are happy, they're going to perform better. And so it's a little different philosophy of driving down on the test. I actually think we test a little too much. But right now, the test starts April 25th for 1 week. And we're going to be ready for it, and our kids will be ready for it. We want to continue to engage our partners, as you see up there, preparing our students for success. Again, I appreciate all of what you have done for our schools because each one of you are a very important part of our school system. And what are we doing? We're building the future of Baton Rouge. There's no doubt about it. I have no doubt about it. I have really enjoyed my tenure as superintendent. I couldn't do it without the great staff that I have, not only at the central office, but in the schools. The more I visit the schools, the more I realize the great organization we have here and the great future that lies before us. So I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
What kind of a response have you had in the first year?
I think it's been great. I think we have really built some community partnerships, I think, that have been phenomenal, and you can just see it by the people in the room here today. So the community relationship piece we brought back, I think, is excellent. We've met with all groups, church groups, businesses, organizations. Of course, VIPS has helped us put together quite a bit of partnerships within the schools. And then, of course, EBR Foundation. We have a new executive director, KEILA STOVALL, we'll introduce today. So I think we're getting better. I think we're now understanding what is our why. Why are we here and what are we trying to do? And that is basically to make us a better school system, to develop relationships with our students and our parents and make them understand that we're the best opportunity for them to move, their children to move forward.
And what do you see as goals for the next coming years?
Well, I see us becoming a leaner district for one thing, budgetary-wise. I mean, budget's not a secret here in Louisiana right now. So I want us to become a leaner district and affect more monies into the classroom. So we have to be aware of that. Secondly, I want us to be a more customer service-driven organization. This is about relationships. It's about how we do things. And parents have a choice, and we want to be the choice of the parents. So it's about being more friendly to our customers.
Are you encouraged by everything you've seen in the first year?
Absolutely. It's been a phenomenal opportunity here to serve as the superintendent in East Baton Rouge Parish. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I have a great board. We have a very, very good board that's committed to doing the right things. In this next year, we plan to open 2 workforce development schools, which is aligned to helping our kids get careers beyond high school. So I think we're pointed in the right direction. We have tremendous staff here, and as you can see with the people around us. So I think we're on the right track to making this a great school system, East Baton Rouge Parish Schools.
If people have questions like more information, what should they do?
Well, EBRschools.org. We're getting ready to roll out a brand new website. Donica Duggan, our communications person, is coming out with a whole new website. We're just trying to update. We're going to be doing some advertising to let people know what the great things going on in EBR schools. And contact us, 922-5400, if you'd like to contact us by phone or go to our website and become a part of our movement.